Okay, today we're going to talk about how to win friends and have an amazing life. This is actually maybe my most favorite topic. I've been teaching a lot of different topics also here on this channel. I'm talking about business, I'm talking about life design, like productivity, marketing, sales, like a lot of different topics. But if I look at my primary driver, like what's my true inspiration, and also for a big part why I'm doing what I'm doing, is to really be with amazing people. And I was thinking, like, what's the perfect title for this masterclass? And I came up with an imperfect title. You probably heard about the book How to Win Friends and Influence People by, I think it was Dale Carnegie. And I am not talking about how to influence people today. I am talking about how to have an amazing life if you win a lot of amazing friends. So if I look at friendship, an amazing saying that I heard from Sean Stephenson, and I was in the room when he said this quote. It was at the Genius Network annual event, and he grabbed the mic, and the late Sean Stephenson said the following. He said, "The best law of attraction is friendship." And I thought that was so wise of him to say, and such a profound insight almost, because we all think about law of attraction. How can we attract an amazing life? How can we attract money? How can we attract whatever it is? But imagine if you are amazing at creating and building friendships. And imagine if you have amazing friendships. How much easier will your life become? How much easier will it be to attract amazing stuff? Like, winning friends and building amazing friendships, it's also one of the most profitable things you can do. However, and that's the paradox, if your goal is to win a lot of friends so you make a lot of profits, is probably not going to work out. So the best law of attraction is friendship, and I agree. Reality is, when it comes to family, we get our family. I chose my parents or they chose me. I chose my children or they chose me. I chose my sister. I chose, like, my family. You choose your family. And I'm very fortunate to have an amazing family. But you choose your family. Sorry, you didn't choose your family. You get your family. But you get to choose your friends. I mean, yes, there's a really deep connection with family. However, with people outside of your family, it is really up to you who you want to spend time with. And knowing that you are sort of in control of creating an amazing peer group, and you have a lot of influence on creating an amazing peer group, and also have a lot of influence in not having the wrong people in your life, this can be very empowering, this idea that you are able to create an amazing peer group. So you are with who you are. If I would surround myself with a lot of really negative people, odds are that I become more negative. If I surround myself with a lot of optimistic people, odds are that I become a lot more optimistic. If I surround myself with a lot of unhealthy people, odds are I become more unhealthy. If I surround myself with a lot of really healthy people, odds are I become more healthy. If I surround myself with people who have no ambition and are broke, odds are my ambition will go down and I might become a little bit more broke. If my ambition or if my surrounding is being with people, or if my surrounding are people who are big thinkers, big dreamers, and people who really get a lot of amazing stuff done, odds are I will change as well. So instead of trying to fix yourself or change yourself or whatever, what about just creating a new environment? I love the book by my friend Ben Hardy. He says willpower doesn't work. You can use a lot of willpower to change, but if you create an amazing environment, oftentimes you will become more amazing. If you create an environment that's very destructive, oftentimes you will get into destructive behavior. So I always say that a life full of friendship is a life full of life. And the life without friendship is the life with just a little less life in it. It's funny, last year And in the description, you'll find a link to the video of this very special evening. Last year, I did a birthday bash. So my birthday is July 3rd. And July 3rd, 2025, I decided to do a birthday bash here in Amsterdam, close to Amsterdam. And we had 800 people join for this event. And it was an amazing event and also really cool to have 800 people join my birthday event. And I invited a bunch of my friends from all over the world. So friends joined from the US, different places in the US, South Africa, from Saudi Arabia, London, like a lot of different places. People came, and my best friends came all the way to Amsterdam to be here for this evening. And people who joined, the 800 people who joined, didn't know that I also invited a bunch of my really good friends on stage for that evening. And I had one question for all of them. And the question was, what does a life filled with life mean to you? And if you would ask me, like, what does a life filled with life mean to you? It's actually very simple. To have a lot of space, I call it white space. And if you're interested in a video about white space, click the link in the description. We have a video about white space as well. But to have a lot of white space to be creative, I love to be creative, but also to spend time with the people that I love the most. And that's obviously my family, my kids, but I spend a lot of time with my amazing friends. And I also spend a lot of money and invest a lot of money into building amazing group of friends. So a life full of friendship is a life filled with life, if you would ask me, and a life without friendship is a life with just a little less life in it. If you surround yourself with fantastic people, this is really bliss, but if you do the opposite, it's really a lot of drama. So I'm gonna reveal 23 ideas with you during this masterclass on how to actually create an amazing group of friends, but also how to go deeper and how to evolve that group of friends into peer groups and like really having it work for you and have just a way more amazing life, even though it might be already really, really cool. I really believe that sometimes you are one connection away from your biggest breakthrough. And I experience this so often that I am stuck, or I don't know what to do, or maybe I have a problem, or maybe there's an opportunity or whatever. And I ask one question. I ask one question to one person, and all of a sudden the problem is gone. Or maybe I don't have that person in my life, and I connect with one person, become friends, and all of a sudden like you are in a new reality. So sometimes you're just one connection away from your biggest breakthrough. And also, and this is something that a lot of people are not aware of, and they don't even think about it. So for example, if I ask people like, what do you want? What do you want? What would be amazing for you? They say, well, I would like to have more time, or I would like to have more money, or I would like to become healthier, or I would like to travel more, or whatever it is. However, I've almost never heard somebody say, I would love to have a new best friend. Can you imagine, just imagine for a second, that in your life right now, and you might already have a best friend or multiple best friends, can you imagine having a new best friend that's totally gonna rock your world? That's an even better friend than your current best friend already. The reality is most people, they can't imagine that. It's really funny. Like I have a really cool friend group from back in the day. So I grew up 100 miles north here from Amsterdam in Friesland. And my friend group, I met them when I was like 13, 14, 15, 16 years old. During that time, we created a friend group. And we were at the same school in the same neighborhood. And it's really a bunch of amazing guys and one girl. Her name is Elsa. She's amazing. But she's also one of the guys. And we're still in touch. So it's not that we see each other very often, but we see each other. And we're in touch and like amazing guys. However, it's not a downside for them, but almost none of them, and it's like 10, 12 guys, almost none of them created new friends. It's still the same group and it's an amazing group, but they don't have the ambition of having new best friends, and I respect that. There's nothing wrong with that. But that's not the topic from today. I say this because this is the reality for most of the people. Most of the people, they sort of accept that the friends that they have right now, that's just the friends that they have right now, and that's it. If I look, for example, at my parents, I can't. I'm 46 years old. I can't come up with one name for the last 30 years, like of a new friend that they create, new friend that they have, and which again is nothing wrong with. They're just really happy with the friends that they have, and it's all good. For me, I love having more friends, amazing friendships, going deeper, like different people. It's just such an amazing thing. And so the reality is most people they don't think about it that's actually a reality. And but it can be a new reality for you. So a new best friend could walk into your life and change your world. I saw this quote a while ago, and it said something that you're gonna meet the person that will love you more than anybody in the world, maybe outside of your family. But imagine that. Imagine a new person coming or entering your life, a new friend that loves you more than anybody else, and you loving him or her more than anybody else. Like, could that be a reality? Of course, that can be a reality. So I think this is really, really, really amazing. And for me personally, again, like one of my biggest, maybe a big part of my purpose, and also also the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is I want to open doors. I want to connect with more amazing people, and that's just one of the things that's really inspiring for me. Like, yes, you can think about who do you want to become, what do you want to do, where do you want to go, what do you want to have, like all that stuff. For me, one of the topics that is on my mind all the time is with who do I want to be? Because I really believe that in life, it's all about collecting memories and not about possessions. And I think that's just really amazing. So environment is stronger than willpower. If you have amazing people in your life, like you don't need to do that much. You will adjust towards them. So just the idea of a new best friend, are you open to that idea? The idea of having an amazing new friend group. I'm so excited. So I can say this. It's August 23rd right now, and one of my best friends, Oren Harris, if you see this, Oren, shout out to you. He's going to get married in a couple of weeks. So he's going to get married in Utah, and we're going to Utah next month or in a couple of weeks. And he decided to come to Amsterdam to do his bachelor party. And which is so great. Like, I'm so honored to have him here and to host his bachelor party. And he is inviting his friends to come to Amsterdam as well, obviously. Otherwise, it would be a one-on-one bachelor party. And we had a Zoom call this week to brainstorm about what we can do during this bachelor party. This bachelor party turns out into like a 4 or 5 day bash. And I don't know those guys, but we were on a conversation. We had a Zoom call, and I brought my son in in the Zoom call. And Oren is such an amazing human being, and obviously he attracts other amazing human beings. So we were on the Zoom call brainstorming about what we can do for his bachelor party, and all of a sudden I realized, like, whoa, guys, and we already call each other brothers because, like, we are brothers. We're like here for Oren for his bachelor party, and I realized, like, oh, you guys will become good friends of mine. I sensed it immediately, and it just warms my heart. It's just really, really amazing thing. So, are you open to the idea of maybe having an amazing new friend group? So, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about how do you connect with amazing people, how do you expand your group of friends, how do you go deep, and I'm going to be very tactical, and in some ways it might be very subtle. I also, when I went to this man cave where I'm in right now, I was thinking, like, can I actually teach this topic? And I know that I can teach a lot of principles, but do people really understand this? It's almost like telling somebody that they have to be in integrity, do people really change if you say like, oh, you have to be in integrity? And if people are out of integrity almost by nature, do they really change if you would say that? And the same with a lot of the things that I'm sharing with you today. I was like, I'm almost a little bit hesitant to teach these topics, because if I have to teach this, it almost means that, or if you have to learn this, it almost means that you don't have what it takes to have amazing friendships. So for example, well, we'll go through it, but it's just a little bit of a disclaimer that I wanted to share, which might sound a little bit odd. Like for a teacher to say like, oh, I'm going to teach you something, but the fact that I have to teach you this and it's new for you might be the reason that it doesn't even make sense for you to listen to this. Because anyway, I just wanted to make that disclaimer. Hope that makes sense. So I have 23 ideas on how to win friends and have an amazing life. So the first one is very simple, and you know this, but I'm gonna repeat this, is don't hang around with the wrong people. So if you want to attract amazing people, it's energetically almost impossible to attract amazing people if you hang around with people that are very toxic or very bad energy, bad vibes. And this is something that's so important, and a lot of people have wrong and they see it the wrong way. I believe that a lot of people are loyal to the wrong things, and especially loyal to the wrong people. This is my belief, and this is not a popular belief, but the fact that you have friends, or the fact that you grew up with certain people, doesn't mean that you have to stay with them for the rest of your life. So what I see with people who have a hard time connecting with better people, and I'm not saying this as in like, oh, that there's wrong people or whatever, and of course there's people with a lot of wrong actions, but this is not, I don't mean this judgmental. However, a lot of people are loyal to people that they grew up with or spend time with, or have a lot of time invested with or money invested, whatever, and they want to stay with them because, yeah, we have multiple years in the pocket, so I need to stay with those people. If you drag your past with you into your future, it's very hard. If you drag something that's dark and heavy, and some people, they just have a dark or a heavy energy, if you stay connected with those people, it's very hard to connect with light and fresh and new people. So you have to be willing to don't hang out with people that are not serving you, that are not serving your purpose, your mission, who you actually want to become. So you have to be very diligent about that, which is not easy. It's really not easy to get rid of those people. I know this is not a popular topic, but it is what it is. Number 2 is don't be a groupie. And this is if you want to connect. So if I go back it doesn't matter. I am very fortunate that I am connected with amazing friends, but also really big players in the game. So really people who are quote unquote famous, or micro celebrities or niche celebrities or whatever. And it's really, really cool. It's not that I'm like, oh, I want to be with you because you're famous, but a lot of cool people are also very famous. If you want to connect with people who are semi-famous, don't be a groupie. Don't be a groupie. Meaning, we were in South Africa earlier this year. So we were in South Africa, and I get a message from a very famous guy from the Netherlands. And he actually has a very famous family. So his family is very famous. And he saw that I was in South Africa. And he said, hey, we're in South Africa as well. Would you like for us to join you guys for a full day so my family can spend time with your family? And my kids, they know that family because it's a famous family. I don't have a famous family. Like my kids, like I'm a micro celebrity or a niche celebrity or whatever, because like in the marketing / entrepreneur / personal development world in the Netherlands, I'm known. But it's not that I'm a famous person. They extremely famous people. Like in South Africa, they get recognized all the time. It's crazy. It's something you don't want, by the way. However, They sent me a message. They wanted to come over to our place to spend time, our families, and my children know their family and their children really well. Their children don't know my children because my kids aren't famous. Their kids are really famous. So before they came to our place in South Africa, I sat down with my kids and we had a conversation. I was like, what are your goals? Because you guys are all really excited they're coming and that you're going to meet these people. Well, what's the goal? And eventually I said, and I said, like, what would it be like? Or I asked them the question, and some of my kids said, like, I would love to be friends with this person or that person. I was like, okay, what do you think will work well, and what do you think won't work well if you want to become friends? And during this conversation, they realized, like, if you are a groupie, and what I mean with a groupie is like, oh, starstruck, and like being so honored because they're there, that's a total disconnect. Like, if somebody, if I want to connect with somebody, but somebody's totally starstruck because I'm who I am, and they want to have a selfie and this or that, like, we're not going to be friends. Like, sorry to say this, but we're not going to be friends. It's off. It's not equal. You want it to be equal. You want to have an equal energy together, and you want them to be safe. So if you want to connect with high-level people, you want them to be safe or feel safe, and they don't feel safe if you see them as a celebrity. So the best way to connect with a celebrity is not approach them like a celebrity and treat them like a normal human being. And that's, you will increase the odds of actually becoming friends or connecting with them like 100x, and you will just destroy your odds of becoming friends with them if you treat them like somebody who's up there or somebody like a celebrity. It's funny, a while ago, my wife, she was connected with a woman, and this woman was inspired by my wife, and she's into branding and everything, and she's been messaging my wife quite often, like, oh, this is what I see for your brand and this and that. And my wife was very interested in her way of thinking. And so she asked me, like, is it possible that she comes over to our place and we'll have a discussion about what I can do for my social media, because this woman, she sees a lot in me, in my social media and everything. And I was a little bit reluctant, to be honest, but then after a while I was like, you know what, let her come over. And so she came over and we had a really cool evening and we had a lot of cool conversations, and I was like, okay, this is a cool person, I think. And then one day later, she posts on her Instagram like pictures of us and tagging me. And then another day later, she sends a mailing with my name in the topic and everything. And I understand that there's certain value to name dropping or to have like the power of association. And I do that. Like, I just literally started this masterclass with a picture of me and Richard Branson. But her doing that, and again, it's a good human being and cool woman, but her doing that, she's sort of like, the odds of us becoming friends are also, it's just smaller, because it's like, oh, I want something from you, I get something from you, like, you have something that I want and I get it from you and I'm going to use it. And that's just not a good way to approach a friendship. And especially if you want to connect with people that are at a higher level than you are at certain areas, or a little bit more famous, you don't want to have the groupie energy. You want to really approach it as mutuals and just be relaxed and treat them like a human being. Fun fact is, my daughter is now really good friends with one of the kids from the family that we met in South Africa. And for that kid, for him, she is a safe space. My daughter, she is amazing, but she's a safe space because she approached him like a normal human being, and he's not used to that because everybody knows who he is. And so I don't know. I think that's a big lesson. If you want to connect with more known people, don't treat them like a celebrity. Don't refer to their work too much or whatever, because they don't want to talk about that stuff. They want to be seen as a normal human being. or for who they are, not for what they've built or what their brand is. So that's very, very important. But again, that's a subtle thing. Going back to my introduction where I was like, I'm a little bit hesitant to teach this stuff. If this is, for me, this is common sense. But for a lot of people, it's not common sense. And they blow their opportunity to connect with somebody at a higher level because they don't know this. So third idea is great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, and small minds, they discuss people. I think it was Roosevelt who had this saying. This is not my quote at all. But I agree. If you want to connect with amazing people, and I see this all the time, most people, they love to talk about people. And if you want to connect with a great mind and you start talking about people, forget about it. Like, it's an off energy. They will never connect with you if you talk about other people. So yeah, like whatever example, like any, and especially if it's people around them in their inner circle or people in their industry. So for example, one of the things that I like, and it's maybe this is me being emotionally immature, but if somebody comes over to me and they start to talk about my competitors or other names in my market, it's just such a disconnect. I don't want to talk about that stuff. Like, I'm not interested in talking about other people, and especially I'm not interested in talking about other competitors or whatever. I don't even see competitors as competitors. That might be my ego, but don't mess with my ego. Like, I don't want to talk about that stuff. And so, but most people talk about people. That's what people love. So you go out to dinner with somebody and people talk about people. So that's the lowest level. But like the majority of the people, they're stuck at this level because people love to talk about people. You will never connect with amazing people if you talk about people. You can talk about people in a very positive way. Like, for example, if I connect with somebody and he or she is friends with one of my friends, we can talk about how amazing our friend is. That's something else. But like gossiping or listening to gossip, so being entertained by gossip, that's the lowest level frequency almost. And from that frequency, you will never really connect with A players. Then there's a level above that, and that's a lot of people talk about events. So they talk about what happened, and they talk about what happened all the time, every time. So, and this is also a lot of friends, if they meet up, what they're talking about is not like, how are you? Like, what's alive in you? Tell me, like, how do you feel? Whatever. That's not where we are. We're talking about, okay, how was your holiday? Well, we went there. And what did you do? Well, we did this. And okay. And how's your house? Well, it's amazing. We just had a new roof. Oh, awesome. And what about the insurance of your car? Whatever. They talk about events. Most people talk about events. And nothing wrong with that. But it's just content. It's just story. It's just whatever. It's not that important. I mean, for me, it's not that important. I don't really care about the events outside of like really big life events, but and then you have a higher level, and that's, we talk about ideas. So yesterday I went to dinner with my sister, and it was such an amazing evening because we talked about ideas. And with ideas, it's not necessarily like, oh, do you have new ideas that we can brainstorm, but more almost like philosophically, like, how do you look at the world? How do you perceive the world? Like, whatever, that level. We could talk for hours and hours and hours, and we talked for hours and hours and hours, but we could have talked for 5 more hours, not because we talked about people, or not because we talked about events, but because we talked about ideas, about like big ideas and like really cool stuff. So this is important if you want to connect with amazing people. This is the level, the frequency where you want to play, and you don't want to spend a lot of time in the other 2 frequencies. Fourth one is never talk down. Never talk down, as in, and most people will never understand this reference, never talk down on a player, too short, but don't talk down on people, as in like, don't talk down about people to people, but also don't talk down to people, like, just don't do it. If somebody's at a certain level, you want to praise them, and you want to praise them. You want to praise people regardless. Never talk down, which is obvious. Fifth one is go out of your way. If you want to build amazing friendships, you have to go out of your way to build those amazing friendships. So I was watching a documentary. This is now 11 years ago, 10 years ago ish, 10 years ago. And the documentary was called Supermensch. And Supermensch is a documentary, and this is actually the book that you see. But the documentary is a documentary about Shep Gordon. And Shep Gordon, as the title of his book, They Call Me Supermensch. This documentary is about him. Basically, it's like a 90-minute testimonial about Shep Gordon, how amazing this guy is. And you got all these celebrities, and they talk about Shep Gordon, about how an amazing person he is. And Shep shares a lot of amazing stories in the documentary, and it's just so inspiring and so amazing. He's the most amazing storyteller ever. And all of those stories, or most of those stories, they take place in his home in Maui, or on Maui. And while I'm watching this documentary, I was like, wow. I want to spend time with this human being. This is such an amazing person. And second of all, I want to spend time with him there. I want to go to that place on Maui, because in that place, like, so many amazing things happened. One of them is that the Dalai Lama stayed there for multiple nights. And it's a safe space for a lot of high-level celebrities. And it's just such an amazing... It's just a really amazing. So I was like, man, I would love to go to his house and spend time with him. That was something that popped into my mind. And I don't know how it is with you, but if something like that pops into your mind, oftentimes, then you get the opportunity. And then the question is, like, do you actually capture or grab the opportunity, or are you going to let it slip? So I see the documentary, and then a couple months later, I get an email from Jason Gaignard, and he partnered with Shep for the launch of his book. And I didn't know that Shep was launching a book. And in this email, it said that if you buy 500 copies of the book, you can go to Maui with 5 of your friends, and Shep will cook a meal for you, and you'll have dinner together. And in the movie Supermensch, you see that he sort of created the whole celebrity chef category. And I was like, wow, go to Maui, have him cook a meal, and have dinner with 5 of my best friends. I mean, that's a no-brainer. So I clicked the order link and I bought 500 books, which is, what is it, $10,000? So that's $10,000 for a dinner. And I'm aware that, like, you have to be able to do investments like that. But a lot of people are, but they don't even think about that it's it's something crazy to buy 500 books for a dinner. For me, it's common sense. And it's still $10,000. It's $10,000. Like, it's not nothing. It's a big investment. And then I had 500 books, but, like, okay, then the 500 books had to come to Amsterdam, so I had to buy, I don't know, shipping, and then we had to do taxes and whatever. I don't know. Maybe it was $15,000 in the end, because it was just a big hassle. Because now I don't even want those 500 books. I just want to have dinner with Shep Gordon. And so I get the 500 books, and I'm like, okay, I'm probably going to do a challenge or something with my audience. So I have a fairly large following in the Netherlands. And I was like, you know what? I'll do a challenge, and people have to watch the documentary on Netflix, and then they can share their big insight. And then if they share the insight, I can send out the book, and I'll give away the book or whatever it is. And then while I was sort of like presenting this on an Instagram live, they were sharing that, like, oh, there's no movie on Netflix that's called Supermensch. It's not available anymore. So now I have 500 books. Shep Gordon is not known in the Netherlands. I have 500 books. It's not on Netflix anymore. And I was like, man, what do I do now? And then during this Instagram live, there's one person who said, why don't we watch the movie together with 500 people somewhere in Amsterdam? I was like, that's an amazing idea. And then literally the same day, we rented out a church here on the Amsterdam canals that fits 500 people. You can see in the screen the church. I put it on social media, like, hey, we're gonna do a free evening where we will watch Supermensch together, which is a really inspiring movie. And within like a couple of hours, we had 500 signups. A couple days later, I'm in the church, 500 people show for free. They all have a book on the chair, so they have a free book. And then with 500 people, we were watching the movie together. And after this movie, the day after, we actually flew to the US and eventually to Maui to have dinner with Shep Gordon and a bunch of my best friends, and it was an unbelievable experience. So why do I say this? It's because you have to go out of your way. Like, you have to go out of your way to create and cultivate amazing friendships. So I connected obviously really well with Shep because I'm this crazy guy that bought 500 books from the Amsterdam, and I brought amazing friends, and we had an amazing evening. But also my other friends, we became more close because we actually spent an amazing time in Maui. And you have to go out of your way. You have to go out of your way. Sometimes you got to make big investments. I'm going to talk about that as well. But sometimes you got to go out of your way, as in like traveling. But like, you have to do things that are non-obvious, and you have to be open with being non-obvious. Speaking of being open, the sixth one is open up. What I mean with open up is, and it's funny when you think like, how can you create amazing friendship? We think like we have to give a lot, and I'm sharing a lot about how to give. So for example, I give this amazing dinner at Shep, or I gift like 500 books, or I give $10,000 or whatever. Like I talk about that a lot. However, there has to be a certain balance, and the balance is that you as a friend, it's very important to also open up. Open up as in like, okay, this is what, for example, I'm going through. So for example, my mom in early 2021, she got diagnosed with breast cancer. And I was so sad because like the worst thing that in my mind that could ever happen to me is something happening with my mom. I can't even think about the idea that something would happen to my children or my wife, but my mom, like the number one fear is something happening to my mom. And my mom, she grew up with 10 brothers and sisters, so 11 people, plus their parents. And she's the only one left. Like, she's the only one who's still alive. So it's been this thing in my system, like, I don't want anything to happen to my mom. Please don't have anything happen to my mom. So she got diagnosed with breast cancer. And at that moment, I was like, I don't know what to do. And I decided to reach out to my peer group, my friends. And I was like, if you can support us, and especially my mom in any way, please do. And I don't know what you can do, but please do. Maybe it can be prayers, whatever it is. And then a good friend of mine, and such an amazing human being, phenomenal guy, his name is Andre Norman. And Andre, he'd been to my parents' place. Andre is from the States, but he went to Amsterdam multiple times. He spoke at my events for 600 people or for 800 people. Like, he's a phenomenal speaker as well, but also an amazing friend. And he spent time with my parents at my parents' place. And so Andre started sending flowers to my mom when he heard about this. So he sends flowers to my mom, and my mom calls me like, I got flowers from Andre. And then the day after, she's like, I got flowers again from Andre. It's like, that's interesting. And then the day after, she was like, I got flowers again from Andre. And then after weeks, she got so many flowers from Andre. And Andre kept sending flowers every day to my mom. Every day. Why? Well, first of all, because he is who he is. But also, I triggered it by opening up and saying, hey, okay, I'm struggling right now with something in my personal life. And And he decided to step in as an amazing friend and started sending flowers every day to my mom, and he calls my mom as well. And at a certain point, my mom begged him, like, Andre, please stop sending flowers because it's just too much. And then he decided, okay, I will stop sending flowers, but I'll send flowers now once a week instead of every day until you are clear. And a year later, he could stop sending flowers because my mom was clear and happy and healthy. So that's amazing. But him, okay, step one, me opening up, like, okay, this is what I'm struggling with. A lot of people, they suffer alone. Ned Hallowell has this amazing saying, never suffer alone. A lot of people, they suffer and they suffer alone. By reaching out to your friends, there's actually, and I'm going to talk about this as well, there's an opportunity to go more in depth with each other, to connect on a deeper level. If I wouldn't open up and be like, oh, I'll suffer alone because it's my mom, like, I don't need to share this with everybody. Like, it's just, it's a personal thing. Gave him the opportunity to really go to another level and really stand out, like, big time. And, was very helpful and beneficial for my mom, but also my relationship with Andre. This is something that I'll never forget, and he'll never forget. So yeah, opening up is very, very important when you want to connect with people. Also, high level people. People appreciate it. Yeah, people appreciate it. It's funny, like, the higher up you go in the world, oftentimes the less people open up because they feel like they are a burden if they open up. The opposite is true, but I'll come back to that. Seventh one is to collaborate. If I look at one of my best friendships, and, like, he's one of my best friends, like, we have such an amazing relationship, and I love him so much, and I know that he loves me so much, is Dean Jackson. And Dean is, he's just phenomenal. And again, we have an amazing friendship. However, when I met him, this is 2014, I went to one of his events in London, and he didn't know who I was. I went to one of his events in London. It was a small mastermind group, and it was an amazing mastermind. And during that mastermind, I asked him, like, what would it be like if we would do this, what you're doing right now in London, if we would do this in Amsterdam? And I'll host the 3-day workshop, and I'll make sure that there's butts in seats and payments, actual payments, and we'll do this, what you're doing right now, together. So I'll host it, facilitate it, and you just do your thing. And he was like, yeah, that's cool. And I was like, really? Yeah, of course. Like, I love to go to Amsterdam, and if I can get paid going to Amsterdam, awesome. And I was like, I'm not sure if he's serious, but we'll see. So this is 2014. 2015 rolls up, and he sends me a question, like a message, like, hey, are we still game for my 3-day event in Amsterdam in July? I was like, yeah, of course, let's do it. So he comes to Amsterdam, and we do a 3-day mastermind, and we collaborate. And if I wouldn't have done that, if I wouldn't collaborate with him, we would have never became so close as we are right now. And we decided after the first Breakthrough Blueprint, his mastermind in Amsterdam, to do it on an annual basis. And we've done it up until COVID, so like 5 times, I think. And it really created something special because we collaborated. And it's funny, I did the same thing with another really, really good friend of mine. His name is Elliot Halls. I can talk about this for hours, how I got connected with all these people. But I went to Elliot's boot camps also in 2014, and he didn't know who I was. And I booked an extra one-on-one session with him, and that's where we connected. And I asked him, I think a year or 2 years later, like, would you like to come speak at one of my events in Amsterdam? And I'll pay you for it. I'll pay for the expenses and the flights and this and that. And he was like, yeah, I would love to do that. So he came over with his wife, and he spoke at one of my events. And then a year or 2 years later, we decided to do another event. And it was a 3-day mastermind here in Amsterdam as well. I think this is 2018. And I remember when he said, during this 3 days, because we had dinner afterwards and we just really connected on a deeper level. And he said, the best way to get to know each other is to work together. And I thought that's so true. If you work together, it's different. It's just different. If you just connect with somebody and you meet up and you talk, and then after you talk, like you leave, I mean, that's amazing. That can be really beneficial and helpful and everything. But working together, creating something together, it's almost magic. It's almost magic. And you really get to know someone. And if you can work together with somebody and it works well, like there's something to it. You go to a deeper level in this friendship. And there's a level of trust that's needed and experience together as well to really cultivate a next level friendship. And Elliot and I, we became really, really good friends. And but because we collaborated. So think about it. Like, where can you collaborate with people? Do you see options or possibilities to collaborate with people that you actually look up to or would love to connect with? And oftentimes that's a possibility or opportunity that we don't really think about. But you have certain assets, you have certain unique abilities, you have maybe a budget or whatever. It's out there. It's possible to go into a deeper level with amazing people. Okay, 8th idea is to call. This is so interesting. I had a really cool evening a couple weeks ago here in my home. Derek Sivers came over. Derek Sivers came with his son and his wife, and he wanted to meet up with me and with my daughter, because my daughter is the same age as his son, and they're traveling the world like we're traveling the world, and they want the children to connect with each other, which I thought was amazing. So we have a really cool evening, and we were talking about friendship. And then he said the following. He's like, I noticed that if I meet people and we don't call afterwards, we don't become friends. But if we call afterwards, we become friends. And it was a very interesting thing he said, but I thought it was also maybe a little bit intentional. Like, okay, if you want us to become friends, you need to call me. And so I'll call Derek once in a while, just to build on like that first connection that we had. So call. It's funny, Dean, I was just sharing about Dean. He calls me all the time. Like, and nowadays almost nobody calls anymore. Like, we send text messages or voice notes or whatever, but he calls me oftentimes. And because he calls me, I mean, there's again a deeper connection, and it's so easy to call, but we don't do it anymore. Number 9 is travel. Like, get out of your way to travel and meet your friends. So I have friends all over the world, and I go to my friends all the time. I really go out of my way to go to my friends and spend time with them. This is a cool little video or little picture where we are with Dean in Florida, and I mean, I do this all the time. I travel all the time to meet my friends and to go deeper in our relationship. And oftentimes, it's a hassle to get there. It takes a lot of time, money, energy, jet lags, all that stuff, but it's worth it. Number 10 is don't be afraid to challenge. And what I mean with this is a good friend is willing to confront as well. And what I mean with confront is if you know that something is off, somebody's not telling the truth, they're messing up at certain parts or whatever, don't be afraid to confront that. I love this saying, this real friends tell you the truth, even when it costs them. If you can't be 100% honest, it's not real friendship. If you are afraid to tell the truth or ask for the truth in a friendship because the friendship would hurt from it, I mean, what's the friendship? Like, what's it worth then? So don't be afraid to challenge. Don't be afraid to challenge yourself a little bit to go deeper or go to a deeper level with your friends. Number 11 is be friendly with everybody, but don't befriend everybody. It's okay to not have a big circle. It's funny, I have a lot of amazing friends. However, I also perceive my my circle to be pretty small. So I'd rather have less people that I go deeper with than a big group of people that I go shallow with. And of course, I prefer to have more people to go deeper with. But it's okay to not befriend everybody. I'm friendly. I try to be friendly with everybody, but I don't befriend everybody. It's an intuition that you have, like a sense that you have with people. Like, yeah, I would love to be friends with you, or I'm good with being friendly with you. And so it's not a transactional thing. Like, oh, I need 17 friends or 50 friends or whatever. No, you want real friends and you want to go deep with them. And number 12 is you have to be willing to let go of friends, which is so hard. It's so hard, and sometimes you can you can let go of good friends as well. I've done this a couple of times where I was really close with a person, and then I know, like, it's not good for me. It's just not good for me. Yes, we are close. Yes, there's a lot of benefits in this friendship, as in like connection or a lot of good stuff. But overall, energetically, it's just not good. Or overall, it might be a little bit toxic even, or whatever. And you know this. You know when this is true. And sometimes it can be amazing for years, and it can go sour. And it's okay. It's okay. It's what life is not all about, but it's what life is about. Like, things change and people change and you change and they change. And sometimes you just grow apart, and or sometimes it's not growing apart. Sometimes it's just you realize it's just not good for me. I realize this is not good for me. And then you have to be willing to let go of friends to make room for amazing friends. And again, there's so many amazing people on the world. There's like 8 billion people on the world. Trust me, you can really have unbelievable friends if you don't have unbelievable friends right now. But you got to go out of your way, and you have to prioritize it. They don't just fall on your lap. They don't just appear like, oh, here, I'm your best friend. No, you got to work for it, and you got to do things that are non-obvious. For example, number 13 is remove expectations. And this is where a lot of people, they go wrong, is they have a lot of expectations from a friend, and they expect a friend to behave a certain way for them to be labeled as a good friend. But everybody is different. Everybody is different. So not every friend will send you celebrations on, or not every friend will celebrate you when it's your birthday. Not every friend will get in touch with you all the time. There's a lot of things that a lot of people don't do, but if you expect them to do all those things, then all of a sudden a lot of amazing friends, they are not your friends anymore. So I think a really amazing example for me personally is one of my dearest friends. His name is John Radcliffe, and John is I met him in 2013 on Necker Island, and Necker Island is Sir Richard Branson's private island, and we got connected on a deeper level in 2013. And then in the whole of 2013, I wasn't in touch with him because, like, I went back to Amsterdam and he went back to his home. And then in 2014, I go back to Necker Island again and I meet him again. And in 2014, I decided to become a member of Genius Network. And Genius Network is it's an entrepreneurial network that's facilitated and started by Joe Polish. And Joe, like, is such a phenomenal human being. And John was also a part of Genius Network. So I see John regularly, like once, twice a year at Genius Network. And then we have a small conversation and then we move on with our lives. And then every year, like maybe I see him once or twice and we could talk for a couple of minutes. Sometimes we don't even talk because there's 200 people. And so, but there's always something. However, something as in like there's a certain energy, a certain frequency, a certain connection but we're just not in touch often. I have my life, he has his life, everything. And so now 18 months or so ago, I'm in Genius Network at 100K. It's $100,000 to be in that group. And this is, I think, last year, February. Something. Yeah, I think February. And it's 2 days, 3 times 2 days per year we get together. John is there as well. I was a little bit jet lagged. I just really didn't have my best days. I didn't get a lot of insights during those 2 days because, and you know, I've been to like maybe 50 of those meetings, and you got the most amazing meetings and then, pretty good meetings, and everything in between. That's just how it is. And I labeled this one as a pretty good meeting, but also because I was jet lagged, now, just my energy, my frequency wasn't amazing. And I see John and we just talk during the break for a couple of minutes, and he was like, you know what? I do a mastermind event next week on Mosquito Island. And Mosquito is another private island of Richard Branson. And John has a compound on Mosquito Island. It's called Founders Estate, which is a phenomenal, phenomenal place. And I've been to Mosquito Island once before in 2014, where Richard took me to show me the island. But I never came back. And John was like, yeah, I'm going to do like a 5-day event next week on Mosquito. If you want, you probably can, because like it's so short notice, but if you would like, you're welcome to be my guest. I was like, let me check my calendar. Well, I got a lot of white space. And again, if you are interested in getting more white space, check out my video about white space. It's really, really valuable. So I was like, well, I got a lot of white space. I'll be there. I'll see you next week on Mosquito Island. He was like, really? I was like, yeah, I'll be there. And then I had the most amazing 5 days on Mosquito Island. I met John in 2013. We felt connected, but we never really went to another level because we just didn't have the time, and you know, life happens. And then in 2025, early 2025, 12 years later, I go to Mosquito. And in the same year, in 2025, I went to Mosquito 4 times. Spent a lot of time with John. John, we have awesome videos together, also for his YouTube channel. So check out his YouTube channel as well. But it's just keeping the relationship, like keeping the connection there. And what I mean with remove expectations. John is not the type of person who checks in all the time. John is not the type of person who sends happy birthday. John is living his life, and that's just how it is. But when I spend time with him, it's phenomenal. It's like, this guy is magic. Like I think he's one of the best business teachers in the world. Amazing human being, but so wise. But I shouldn't expect like the mundane stuff from him, or the things that people usually expect in a friendship. He doesn't check those boxes. But whenever I need him, so I had a couple months ago, there's a sudden crisis in my life, like next level, like all of a sudden, boom, everything is different. And he was the second person I think that I called, or maybe the first person that I called. I sent him a message like, dude, I don't know what to do. He was like, okay, I'll call you right now. And so we don't call. We don't text too often. I mean, we text quite often, but we don't call. But when I need him, he's 100% there for me. And so if I would have a lot of expectations from him, like, oh, I want you to be like this or this or this or this or this, we probably wouldn't be disconnected. So if you want to connect with amazing people, remove all of your expectations and just appreciate for what is. Every person is not like the other person, and there's not one person in this world who is perfect. But a lot of people in this world, they have a lot to give and a lot to share. If you can remove expectations, it's so much easier to eventually connect with amazing people. 14th is, I call this confess to connect. being an amazing friend is not necessarily, again, about creating value all the time, or, gifting inspiration or information or whatever. It can be very, very powerful in a friendship for you to confess to connect, meaning we all have our stuff. We all have our challenges. And we think that if I present to you my challenges or my struggles, maybe even my secrets, that's going to burden our friendship. The opposite is oftentimes true. If you are so trusting to confess maybe even your darkest stuff, that's an opportunity to really connect on a deeper level. And most people are not used to this, that people are able and willing to actually confess. I love this quote, and it says, "A friend is someone who knows all about you and still loves you." I'm not sure if this quote is from Ellen Long, but Ellen is, this is all I have to teach about friendship. Like, this masterclass is all I have to teach about friendship. And yes, I can talk about this for a long time. Ellen really mastered the art of being an amazing friend. Her name is Ellen Long, so definitely check her out as well. She spoke at, so when I did and you'll see her in the video from my birthday evening. I'll put the link in the description, where you'll see all my amazing friends on stage at my birthday evening, and she was sharing a lot about friendship as well. And from all of the amazing people on stage, and there's big names on that stage, her talk really resonated with most people, because it's about the most important thing in life, friendship and love. And so I think this quote is from her, and otherwise I'll just claim that it's hers. "A friend is someone who knows all about you and still loves you." Are you willing to really open up to your friends and confess to connect? Or do you want to keep everything to yourself? Or are you afraid that your truth will hurt your friendship? And what's actually might hurt your friendship is you withholding the truth. So yeah, that's number 14. And number 15 is unpopular, especially if you are not in a position where you make a lot of money, is write the check. So if I look at all of my most amazing friends, yes, I have friends that I found in the wild, that I just met in a coffee lounge or a hotel lounge or whatever. However, the reality is, for me, is that most of my amazing friends, they are an indirect result of me writing a check. So if I would only go back to one decision that completely changed my life, but also the life of my family, is me writing a big check in 2013. And this big check was a $40,000 check to go to Necker Island, Sir Richard Branson's private island. And this is 2013. Nowadays everybody's, offering 40,000 euro packages or whatever. But at that time, $40,000 is like 1.6 billion now in 2026. So $40,000 for a holiday for a week, that's sort of like how people perceive it. But for me at that time, and it was a leap of faith investing $40,000 to go to Necker Island, but something in my system, like, I have to do this. And it was very non-obvious, because my daughter was just born like 8 weeks before. And my wife's like, you have to go. And because of my wife, she really understands me and sees me. She's like, this is an opportunity, you have to go. At that time, like, it didn't make sense. 40K didn't make sense. I was just a fresh new father. Didn't make sense to leave the family for like 10 days or 12 days. However, my intuition told me you have to go. I go there. And during this week, I connect with John. I just shared about John Radcliffe. I connect with Benjamin Richter, who's such an amazing friend, and he's the godfather of my daughter and my children. I connect with Joe Polish. I've never met Joe Polish before. And I connect with more people there. I connect with Kevin Donahue, who is an amazing friend. The next quote that I'll share with you is from Kevin as well. But I connect with Joe Polish. And a year later, I go back to Necker again, and I decide to sign up for Genius Network. And Genius Network is a group of entrepreneurs, and we get together 3-4 times a year. There's 2 levels. There's a $100,000 level. I'm in that level. And there's a $35,000 level. And it's just really an amazing network. And this is 2014 that I sign up. And now in 2026, I've been in that group for 12 years. I pay $100,000 a year. And oftentimes, well, not oftentimes, but during COVID, for example, I didn't even travel. I didn't even go. For me, when I signed up, I made this decision that I will be in this group for at least 10 years. So this my commitment is at least 10 years. And I didn't even know how amazing the group is. I was just committed to 10 years. I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this well. And this is also like a different way of thinking. This is not me patting myself on the back. Maybe a little bit. Nothing wrong with that. But it's like, no, I'm going to do this. I'm really going to do this. Versus what most people do when they enter a group like that is they see, is this worth anything? Is this valuable? And then every time they go like, oh, how valuable was this? What did I get from this? I think one of the reasons that I built so many amazing friendship in Genius Network, outside of Genius Network, is I didn't have anything to give. No, let me put it this way. I didn't have anything to get out of it because I didn't have an international business. Like my business is 99% Dutch. And so I wasn't there to close a deal. I wasn't there for them to promote me. I was just there just because I enjoyed it. And also to offer value, like just be cool and just be inspired and be grateful for me to be in such a special group. So 2014, I become a part of Genius Network. From that decision, I go to Dean Jackson. Dean is best friends with Joe as well. I become best friends with Dean. I keep the relationship with John-ish during all those years. I connect with Kevin Donahue. Andre, I was just sharing Andre, who's sending flowers to my mom every day. I met him at Genius Network. I was just talking about Ellen. I know Ellen from Genius Network. Sam Karashi, really cool friend. He came to my birthday bash. I know him from Genius Network. And so many other things came from that one decision to 2013 go to Necker Island, and from there on making the commitment from, okay, I'm going to play this long game when it comes to relationships, and I'll commit to this group. And if I didn't write that check of $40,000, and if I didn't write the second big check that's becoming a member of Genius Network, and I didn't keep on writing that check, I wouldn't, last year in February, see John at a 100K meeting, and I wouldn't have gone to Mosquito. And like that whole Mosquito Island thing, like it made such a big impact on my family as well and my team as well, because I brought them, and it's all because I wrote the check. And it's funny, I had in 2014, I think I became a member of an entrepreneurial group here as well. I'm not gonna name the name, but it's a worldwide group. Like it has chapters all over the world, and forward, and then you meet up every month, and I got into a group because I wanted to connect with more people. I get in the group, and it just wasn't great. So when you talk about like poor minds talk about people, average minds talk about events, and great minds talk about ideas. In that group, they were talking about people and they're talking about events. And I just wasn't inspired. Every time I go to this group, I walked away with 0 notes and 0 inspiration. I just was drained afterwards. So, but they really wanted to keep me in that whole environment. So they put me in another group. And I was like, oh, let me try this. Same thing. It was just not an inspiring thing. And then it was funny. They asked me, this group, and these are entrepreneurs. You have to do at least $1 million a year. But most of those people in that group, they made way more. And they were intrigued by the idea that I went to Necker Island a bunch of times. And then they asked me, like, how much do you pay to go to Necker Island? I was like, well, it's $40,000 for a week. And they were like, wow, you're crazy. You're crazy. And I say this Because most people, if I talk about this topic, you have to write a check. Most people, they go into their mind like, oh, Eelco, that's easy for you because you have the money. That's why you can write the check. If you would have money, would you write a $40,000 check? Yes or no? Those people in that group, they all made at least $1 million per year. Most of them made way more. And they looked at me as if I was crazy. It's not about if you're able to write the check. It's about, are you willing to write the checks? And those are two different things. A lot of people are not able to write a check like that. I'm aware of that. But there's a lot of people who are able to write a check like that, but they're not willing to write a check like that because they think like, well, I can buy a car or I can do this or this or this, whatever. Or it doesn't even come up in their mind to do something extraordinary or outrageous like writing a $40,000 check. And so going back to Genius Network, where I'm heavily investing every year, I'll keep doing that. It's just so simple because I play the long game. I see all these dots that are connecting because I have this long-term view on that group. Going back to friendship, Ellen Long, she was talking about Genius Network a while ago. And again, Joe Polish is the owner of Genius Network. He runs Genius Network. And Joe is famous for being an amazing connector. And so when people talk about Joe, they would say like, yeah, this guy, he's an amazing connector. He knows everybody and he connects people and this and this and this. And that's true. Like, he is an amazing connector. However, and this is Ellen, her words, he's not just an amazing connector, he's an amazing friend. And because he's such an amazing friend, that's why Genius Network is what Genius Network is. It's not him being an amazing connector. Also, I mean, that's one of his features almost. But who he truly is an amazing friend. I know that if I would need him for whatever, I could call him. And a lot of people in Genius Network, they know the same thing. And that's so much more valuable than information or even a connection. Like really building amazing friendships, it's just also a really profitable thing. So I was talking about Kevin Donahue, which is really a good friend of mine as well. I met him on Necker, and he said my biggest breakthroughs are on the other side of writing a big check. And I agree. So 16th idea is apply the freedom framework. So I have this teaching, and I call this the freedom framework. And I can talk about this for an hour, and you can find more information on my YouTube channel. However, I'm going to do this now within a minute. It's very, very simple. The freedom framework is scheduling the most important things in your calendar before scheduling business things. And the most important things are not things, they're relationships. So look at all of your friendship and decide like how much time would I like to invest this year with him or her. And then just schedule it. And this is what I call the freedom framework. Schedule the most important things so you don't need to think about that anymore. And then you can actually have the rest of your time, running your business. Because life is all about creating amazing memories and connecting with people. You have to prioritize that over the things that are less important, and that is oftentimes the business. So that's number 16. Number 17 is be an amazing friend. Be an amazing friend. And with this, I don't mean you have to check off all the boxes. I think I'm an amazing friend. However, I'm not. I am that guy that doesn't call you when it's your birthday. I forget about your birthday. I could forget about my birthday. Well, maybe not. But I might not celebrate you on your birthday. Like my best friends, I have no clue when is their birthday. Like, okay, maybe some I know, but from a lot I don't know. And it's not. Well, I'm lacking when it comes to like celebrating your birthday. If I'm not invited or I don't know about it, I'm lacking there. Will I be there when you need me? 100%. Am I present when we're together? 100%. Will I give you a call and say like, hey, let's hop in a plane and let's go to an amazing place for a full week and it's on me and we'll have an amazing time? 100%. Like I'm really an amazing friend, but I'm not the regular friend. And can I improve there? Yes. Do I actually want to improve there? Not sure. I have to think about that. But just be that amazing friend. But be an amazing friend. Just be you. Be who you are. And they will appreciate you. And if they don't appreciate you, well, it's fine as well. Like, you just really being you. You do have to get out of your way. But let the chips fall where they may. And then all of a sudden, you can have unbelievable friendships. Number 18, and I referred to this a couple of times, but I can recall a moment last year on Mosquito Island. I'm there and I connect with one of the other people on the island as well, and his name is Michael, and he's a phenomenal human being, and we connect immediately on a deeper level. And sometimes you experience that you meet somebody and you'll be like, okay, we will become friends. It's funny. I was here in a hotel lounge like 5 years ago, and I sit down and there's another guy, he's sitting at the front of me. So we're sitting faces towards each other. And he drops on, we wear the same shoes. We both were wearing Air Force Ones. So I told him, nice shoes. And he was like, oh, you got nice shoes. And I see him, and it's very rare, but I look at him, I was like, what do you do? This is my first question to him. And he's like, well, I'm a writer. He's like, what are you writing? Well, I wrote this book and this book. I was like, I heard about those books. He's like, what do you do? So I tell him what I do. And we connect immediately, and we become friends. So this is one of my friends. His name is Mano Busamur. And we met in the wild. Man, lost my train of thoughts. I'll get back to it. So I see my friend So at that moment, I decided when I saw Mano that I got my train of thoughts back. Oh, we're gonna become friends. Like, we are just really connected together. And this is like after 5 minutes, we called each other bro. Like, it was just we were just immediate friends. And he's really good at like cultivating an energy where it is almost obvious to become friends. But we just became friends like all of us immediately. And the same with Michael that I meet on Mosquito. We become friends immediately. It's like immediately, like, we're at the level like, oh, we're friends. Like, we're friends. And sometimes becoming friends is also a decision. Like, oh, let's decide to become friends. And so we have an amazing time there. And Michael is such a giving person. So when you sit down with Michael, he's just so present. He's just so present. And when you share what you want to share, and I'm very open with sharing whatever is in my system, he just listens and he asks questions, and then he starts thinking about it. And the day after, he comes back like, Eelco, let's sit down because these are all the ideas, or I've been thinking about you and whatever. And it's like, wow, this guy is something else. Like, he is something else. He's so present. He's so committed to my growth, and whatever I need, like, he got me. Awesome. And then I meet him again, same thing. Like, he's just really so there for me, and he's amazing. And then I meet him again, and I notice that he just wants to help. He really wants to help, but he doesn't want to be helped. He's just really focused on creating value for me and like really being there for me. And like, what can I do for you? But he didn't really allow me to help him. So he didn't really open up that much. And I told him, and this is a big one, and this can revolutionize your relationships. Because I think most people think that if they open up and they ask for help, is that they are a burden for that people, for that person. So if you and I are friends, and you have a problem, you know, you're suffering or you're struggling or whatever, and you decide like, let me not call Eelco because I don't want to be a burden for Eelco. Is that hurting or helping our relationship? Is that us going deeper or staying more shallow? If you would open up to me and I'm your friend, let me put it this way. If you don't open up to me and I'm your friend, you are hurting our relationship because you actually don't allow us to go deeper. But if you are willing and able to ask for help, like Eelco, I'm struggling, I don't know what to do, that's actually a portal for us to go deeper and to go more in depth. However, most relationships, we keep things to ourselves because we don't want to be a burden. But what we actually do is we don't allow us to go deeper. And so you have to be willing to ask for help. It's actually an opportunity to go deeper and to actually have a better bond than actually thinking it is a burden. So going back to Michael, I gave him the feedback. It's like, dude, like, I love that you want to help me and I love how present you are with me. But if you want to be great friends with me, like, it has to be a two-way streak. You have to open up as well. You have to be willing to ask for help as well. Because I can't help you. Like, I can only receive from you, and I'm great at receiving. But it doesn't feel mutual. It doesn't feel equal. It doesn't feel... So if you want our relationship to go deeper and you want us to really become friends, you have to open up. It's funny, I sent him a message before I did this masterclass.
Brother, I was thinking of you and just wanted to send you a message, and I love you.
So that's Michael. So be willing to ask for help. A lot of people struggle with this, but very necessary if you want to connect on a deeper level. Other thing is connect your children with your friends. If you have children, so my children are 8, 10, and 13 at this moment. And I invest a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of energy in building an amazing network of friends. And I do that because that's it's my purpose. I love that. However, it's very important for me to spend time with amazing people. I also think and know it's very important for my children to spend time with amazing people. I love the saying that it takes a village to raise a child, and that's my belief as well, that you want your children to be raised by not just you and your partner, but also by other amazing people. So we bring our children, I should say, to amazing people. We travel often with our entourage. Our entourage is people from my team and friends, family friends. And they are surrounded with really amazing people all the time. We're homeschooling. And for me, a big part of homeschooling is simply have them be surrounded by really awesome people. So connect your children with your friends as well. It's funny, you see a picture on the right, which is Otis. He's my middle son. And this is at Genius Network. And at Genius Network, I oftentimes take or Otis or Dani, my oldest daughter. You see Dani at the bottom left. She's selling bracelets to Richard Branson on Richard's Island, on Necker Island. And at the top you see John with my family, John Radcliffe. But going back to Otis at Genius Network is he's oftentimes the only child there. So there's 60, 70 adults, and he's the only child that's there. And it's such a missed opportunity to not bring your children to your amazing network, because this is everything. It's just everything. Number 20, you want to be the smallest in the room. You don't want to be the biggest in the room. You don't want everybody to look up to you. You want to look up to other people. So it's when I went to Necker Island the first time in 2013, I was like, who am I to be here? Who am I to be here? Oh, John is next to me. John just sold his business for $65 million. Benjamin is next to me. He runs probably $100+ million business. I look at Joe. He runs Genius Network with a couple hundred members. I look at Richard Branson, multi-billionaire. Like, it's all these big people. And I felt like the smallest in the room. Well, who do you think benefited the most to be in that room? That's me, because I'm the smallest in the room. You don't want to be the biggest in the room. It's funny. I have two groups. Um, I have the bar raisers and I have master moves. And bar raisers is for entrepreneurs doing over 500,000, and it's an amazing group. And sometimes when people want to join the bar raisers, they feel like, yeah, I don't know if I'm worthy enough of being in this group because this person is doing so much and this person is doing so much. And I was like, no, you have to be the smallest in the room. And not as in like diminishing yourself or lowering your status or whatever, but just being inspired by greatness around you. I think that's, again, going back to the beginning. Environment beats willpower. You want to be in situations and environments that actually lift you up. And if you are interested in joining bar raisers, we have the English version and the Dutch version. Send me a DM on Instagram. So if you're interested in becoming a bar raiser, send me an Instagram DM with the word bar raisers. See that at the top, bar raisers. So at Eelco de Boer. That's my English Instagram. If you're Dutch and you listen to this or watch this, send me the word latverhogers to my Dutch Instagram, which is at eelcodeboer.nl. So bar raisers to at Eelco de Boer on Instagram if you're English, and if you are interested in the Dutch group, it's called Latverhogers, and send that to at eelcodeboer.nl. Not my quote, but if you're the smartest person in your group, find a new group. So you want to surround yourself with people that at certain areas are at a different level so you can grow as well. Number 21 is have the difficult conversations. Are you willing to have difficult conversations? Yes or no? Or do you stay superficial? If you aren't willing to have a difficult conversation with someone, you are essentially signaling that the person isn't important enough to you. So you might be in a relationship with somebody, a friendly relationship, and certain things are bothering you, for example. And it's in your system, but you decide to let it slide. And then you decide to let it slide again and let it slide again for whatever it is. If you let things slide that are actually really in your system and your truth is this isn't good for our relationship, and you decide to not talk about it, what you're deciding is this friendship is not worthy of having a difficult conversations. Keith Cunningham has this saying that I'm butchering it, but the level of growth that you can have is the level of difficult conversations you're willing to have. And same with friendship. If you want to go deeper and you're not willing to have the difficult conversation, be willing to have the difficult conversation. Like, because that way, I had a conversation today with my son, and it was a small little conversation, but I prefaced the conversation with him. I was like, I say this because I love you, and I say this so we can almost guarantee that this will work well. If I don't say this, you might mess certain things up, and we might have a problem. And he understood. Like, he's 10 years old, he's highly intelligent, and it was about his, because he's now a content creator as well. And I was sharing with him that because he's making videos, and we have a rule: you have to show me the video first so I can approve. We always say approve, and then he can put it on YouTube. Because I don't want him to put bad stuff into the world, and bad stuff could be a small thing, but you don't want to bring bad karma in the world. So I told him, like, okay, let's sit down, because now you make amazing videos, but also you're commenting on other people's videos, which is great. He connected with a really cool YouTuber today, and they connected, and he now is a subscriber to my son's YouTube channel. And I was like, okay, we need to have this conversation. We only put cool videos out in the world, no bad stuff. However, and my son he has a very active brain, like it's go, go, go. Same goes with comments. So if you comment on other people's videos, you can't you can't put anything negative out there in the world. So never comment something negative on somebody else's videos. But also, if you're going to grow with your YouTube channel, and he wants to grow his YouTube channel, you might get negative comments as well. And if you reply in a negative way, I'm going to push that big delete button of your YouTube channel. And, putting some fear into might work. That's my way of parenting. Just kidding. But willing to have a difficult conversation, very, very, very important. And then almost the last one we'll continue to 23. But this is very important, is decide if you are worthy. And I think this might be the biggest one of this whole masterclass. If you feel that you're not worthy of being a friend of a person at a certain level, you will never become a friend of that person at a certain level. It's that simple. So if you feel that you are not worthy, you will never become friends with somebody who you think you're not worthy enough for. It's that simple. And if you would dissolve the whole idea of you not being worthy, then you can actually have a clear relationship with somebody. But if you feel like, oh, I'm not worthy of connecting with this person or spending time with him or her or whatever, forget about it. So I always say, in Dutch, I say, hoe meer je zelf waardeert, hoe meer je zelf waardeert. Meaning, the more you appreciate yourself, the more you'll appreciate. And this is true. The more you appreciate yourself, the easier it is to connect with somebody else who's at the same frequency. So it's not necessarily about levels. Oh, you make this much money or you have so many followers or whatever. It's more about a frequency. Do you connect with a person who is at a certain level, yes or no? And if this person is here, let me go here. If this person is here and you are here in life. So this person makes $1 million, for example, or this person has 1 million followers. Let me put the follower idea. This person has 1 million followers, but you have 20,000 followers. There's a difference in level. And if you think like, okay, but I only have 20,000 followers, so I can't connect with this person, you will never connect with this person. But if you have the frequency of 1 million followers and you operate at the same frequency, then you connect with that person. And so you have to decide for yourself, am I worthy of having amazing relationships? Or if you feel like you're not worthy, know that you're worthy. Like, because I have this feeling, like sometimes I feel like, so last year, it's my birthday. And it's my birthday. And I invite my friends. And which for me was a big ask. And I was expecting nobody to show up. I sent Joe a message, Joe Polish, like, hey, I'm celebrating my birthday in Amsterdam. You're invited. I'm not saying like, do you want to come? No, you're invited. He's like, oh, I'll come. I was like, whoa, that's really cool. I sent the message to Benjamin that I met on Necker. This guy is busy. He has hundreds of employees in multiple companies and has big family and a big life. It's like, yeah, well, I'm doing this birthday bash. You're invited in Amsterdam. He lives in Texas. Oh, I'll be there. Oh, no shit. I send a message to all these people, and they all show up. It was uncomfortable for me to ask them to come to Amsterdam, but it was very. And it's not like, oh, I'm not worthy of you guys to come to Amsterdam, but it had everything to do also with my self-worth, as in, or the way I perceive myself. I know that I'm really, really a good person. I'm a great person. I'm a really awesome human being. if I would have a self-belief, and it's interesting, on my YouTube channel, I have a video, it's called Stop Hating Yourself. And that's where I teach how to dissolve the idea of not being worthy. So check that video out. But if I would have the belief that something is off with me, or I'm not a good person, whatever, I would never invite those people to come to Amsterdam and spend a bunch of days with me and go to my parents' place and this and this and this. So it's a mind game, but it's also a heart game. Do you feel about yourself that you are worthy, that you are an amazing human being, a really good human being, or do you feel that you are not enough? And if you feel that you are not enough, it's very hard to connect with people at a certain level. So in closing, I want to share with you the 23rd idea, insight, breakthrough, and that is play the long game. Play the long game. It takes time to cultivate relationships and to grow and everything. It just really takes time. And I hope that this masterclass was valuable for you. And I want to end with a quote from Naval Ravikant. He says, "You want to play long-term games with long-term people." Well, I want to invite you to meet my friends. And my friends, I invited them to my birthday last year, and I did a theater evening. We had 800 participants join the theater evening, and we had a panel at the end of the afternoon, which was a surprise for everybody who was there. And we have a recording of that whole session. I think it's like an hour or so, where you meet my friends and they share their wisdom, and they answer one question. And that question was, what does a life filled with life look like for you? And they answer this question. I think it's really, really amazing. So check the link, or click the link, the thing in the screen to go to that video. Hope you enjoyed this today, and see you at another masterclass.